Greetings everyone, Napoleon Complex here, and welcome back to the series. Last time we wiped out the Scipii and the Brutii, reducing their armies to scattered rebels on the Italian peninsula and on Sicily. However, we are going to have to pause our campaign for the moment because we are blocked by a large consular army on the road to Rome itself. So we're going to hold Capua. We don't expect aggressive actions for the Romans here. Let's retrain our Iberian infantry as a first step. Now let's take a closer look at the financials of our empire. And we do have a decent profit coming in, but bear in mind that we also have a larger empire. So if we want to keep developing what we have to maintain a large amount of money coming into the treasury. So I believe I've already selected what is going to be built this turn. Just have a double check around my empire to be sure. Carolus hasn't been selected. Let's see. In Carolus, when I go for shrines, I tend to go for the Law and Order shrine. This has the effect of lowering corruption, meaning that you don't just get public order, you also get more money in the end. Especially if I have to select my capital. In Palma, the priority is going to be getting out of here, so we're going to build a port, because I have some very valuable Balearic slingers here, which I want to get into the field. And in Corduba, we are building mines, so that's very well. Now, we do have a bit of action to open with because we have the Siege of Scalibus, and I believe we are not quite ready to assault yet. Never mind, we'll hire the mercenaries. That's the other thing I always want to make sure that I do, hire my mercenaries. And I also know that Captain Tertius has landed on this island here. So let's take our army and, we can't quite attack him there. Take our infantry and place them on this square. And then we take our cavalry and we're going to attack them, and they'll come in as reinforcements. So here we are, Captain Tertius. Let's go for it. Now I expect my cavalry to do most of the heavy lifting here, but my infantry are going to be important, so we're going to have to wait for them. Let's bring them onto the field. Let's see if my computer can handle triple speed. Yes it can, in battles of this size it's fine. Right, those infantry over there are hastati. They have javelins that will eviscerate my infantry. So my job is to use my cavalry in such a way that they never get the chance to do that. I'm going to take my cavalry and I'm going to put them onto the same flank. This is so I can easily control them and they can't be separated from one another. You always want to, especially if you're new to Total War, keep your cavalry on the same flank. Do not try and control two flanks at the same time. It will end badly. So I need to slow down a little bit here. I need to keep my infantry coordinated with my cavalry. The enemy are unfortunately making this a bit more of a tedious affair. They are drawing back, which does make sense. They are heavily outnumbered. They are trying to delay contact. See, they're shifting to try and face me down. They're obviously more worried about my cavalry. Now what will happen as I ride around the enemy is rather than stay in a box and wait to be hit from both sides, they're going to try and use one unit to go after my cavalry, while I suspect the other will go after my infantry. We need to avoid the one that goes after my cavalry and instead hit the one that's approaching my infantry force. We want to leave a little bit of space between the lines for this. So they're exhausted. So they've obviously been running all over the field while I was on the march. So that will help me considerably because their morale is going to be absolutely terrible. In fact, with the exhausted enemy soldiers, I think I can break them with a direct charge. Especially if they turn and give their flanks to my general's bodyguard. Hit the rally horn just before so that you don't end up. And there they go. Right, let's bring the infantry forward on a wave now. We've got our cavalry for flank attacks, so we don't need to worry too much about that. The Romans really don't know what to do here, do they? And the combined shock should drive them from the field. They are fighting to the death, unfortunately, but they've broken. Pull the infantry off. We don't actually want them to fight to the death, though they may end up doing so as the cavalry come in. That is one dead Roman army. Right, go and chase the stragglers down. You can go to the campaign map unless you particularly want to see me kill a bunch of Roman 20-somethings. Or possibly younger. The Hastati could be as young as 18, I think. Boy, did you guys pick the wrong island to invade.
Victory lies in your grasp, and there is nothing the enemy can do but run.
I'd say that went pretty optimally. There we go. Right, Burrus is going to have to hang there for a while. I need to bring my family members onto the ships here. Let's take Hanno's group. I know Carthage is in unrest. I'm going to deal with it in a minute. There we go. Okay, because I want to bring his army along for this ride as well. We're going to northern Italy and I'm going to try and bypass Rome for the moment. So let's hire what mercenaries we can. We're all going to board the boats. I'm going to sail to here and I should be able to intercept my navy with this navy here. So that will protect them in case the Julii navy or some pirates decide to pay us a visit. We've got 3 bodyguards. That should be more than enough for an invasion of northern Italy. But just in case that approach doesn't work, I'm also training up an army here. Let's try and free up these 2 towns so they can send reinforcements, because I'm not really going to be able to do much while the remains of the Scipii are hanging around outside of Croton. Let's take this cavalry unit here. And let's take a look at our general, because if I attack with Theages, he is going to be the commander on record. And I don't really like Theages. I mean, he's got no command. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to attack with Captain Gisco, and he will be the commander on record for this battle. What that means is that if we win the battle, he may become the man of the hour, and he will be promoted to a full general, and that's what we want here. Now let's take a closer look. We've got Nero Quintilis himself. Now that's interesting. He's got a barbarian warlord instead of a Roman bodyguard. So that's something to bear in mind. I don't know what the differences are statistically. He's also got 2 units of Stati. We've seen these before, but well, they're much more dangerous now that they're supported by a ranking general and some cavalry to cover their flanks. So this might be a tougher affair. Let's go. Okay. So, where are they? Right, of course, they're going to take up position on a massive hill. Let's wait for our reinforcements to arrive first of all. So they are coming from over this way. The enemy shouldn't interfere with that. Once again, feel free to skip on in the video until our forces are united. And we're some distance up the hill. Right, let's get things moving. Once again, group all of our forces on one flank. And which flank has the most space, I wonder? Probably a bit more freedom on this flank. So we'll bring the cavalry over here. Let's just get things moving. For those of you still watching, it is a lovely battlefield. You've got to admire all the details that CA put into the game at this point. You've got that paddock there. You've got little farmsteads dotted around, as well as these nice corn rows. I think you can even hide light infantry in these corn rows, because some units have the ability to hide in tall grass, and that probably qualifies. Actually, let's check our skirmishers. Skirmishers, can you hide in that? Let's just first of all, can they hide in the open? No, they can't. Can they hide in the corn rows? No, hold on a second. Let's just check with the skirmishers. Yeah, they can hide in long grass. Oh, that's a shame. So you can't actually use the corn to, not the corn, the wheat. You're probably screaming at me by now. The wheat to hide your soldiers. So it's purely visual. Or maybe I just didn't wait long enough, because it does take time to hide your forces. And given that they're already watching us from the hill, I might just not have given it enough time. Anyway, we're formed up now, but we still have a bit of a walk up the hill to go. Note how I'm putting my skirmishers in the back line. This is because they're usually used just before impact, so they will get a chance to throw their javelins in if it comes to that. That said, the Hastati will probably break my infantry just with javelins, so this is again going to be a game of don't let the Hastati throw their javelins, because they will murder us if they do. So another thing that you have to consider is the expert mode bonus. Expert gives the AI a ludicrous +7 attack bonus. Now, if you look at the Iberian infantry, my Iberian infantry only have 8 attack, so that would move their attack up by almost 100%. So with expert, you have to treat enemy units differently. They are much, much stronger than their normal mode counterparts. They have more morale as well. So just like last time, we're going to try and get up and around the enemy position, and if we can get right around them, I'm going to come at them from the rear. Okay. We're just, as we climb, we're just going to pause and give our troops some breathing space. Okay, and we're going to climb up the hill again. And I hope that this will prompt the enemy into doing something reckless. And it looks like they're bringing their general out to face me. I'm going to draw back for the moment. It looks like they're concentrating their forces. Right. They're going for my infantry. I'm actually going to pull that force back. Run. In the meantime, we're going after their warlord. We're going to crash into him at a standing start. Now this could still go quite poorly for us on expert. Oh the goodness, they reacted to that quickly. But it looks like they've just reformed, broken them. But that should be the end of them soon. They're going to hit us with javelins. This was poorly coordinated. Okay, and that really hurt. We did manage to break the bodyguard, but boy did my cavalry fail. Oh no, they're breaking. Right, hold on. This has the potential to go really, really badly now. Oh Jesus. So they've broken my skirmishers with the javelins, and now they're charging into town militia. AI being really proactive here. Luckily I was able to stop that before it got worse. See, I knew this would be a more dangerous army. We lost our cavalry, we might lose our infantry too. But as long as I can still win the battle, it's not a total disaster. So what happened there was, of course, the problem with trying to launch a flank attack like that is the enemy will block your flanking units. They're trying to charge in. Right, I have to take the opportunity to break the enemy army, and it doesn't even matter whether or not we We're really risking Theages' life here. I need to get him out. Because I do still want Theages, he's a decent governor. But it doesn't matter whether we kill the rebels or not, because they'll be destroyed on the campaign map afterwards. Thankfully my infantry did come back. Okay, not a total disaster, but Gisco ended up being a complete coward. It's not his fault, he's in command of a relatively poor morale unit of cavalry. The round shields aren't great. But it does mean if he does become the man of the hour, which I highly doubt after this, he's probably going to get the doubtful courage trait, which means he's not going to be great for my troops' morale.
General, attack!
Come on, get him. No mercy.
General, move out! Move out! Attack!
No mercy for the Romans, which is kind of mean, because the Romans didn't even do anything to us. We invaded them in this scenario.
Infantry! Victory lies in your grasp, and there is nothing the enemy can do but run.
I'm just going to say that he insulted my faction. That the Roman consuls of that year insulted my faction leader or some stupid excuse like that. So, funnily enough, Gisco was not the man of the hour after that, but we have cleared the route to reinforcements coming in from Croton. So we'll start. Now, I don't think does Capua have the ability to recruit cavalry? No, it does not. So let's have our cavalrymen drop off at Tarentum just to retrain. And since I've still got some money left, I'll recruit some more round shields. We've not got any decent troop production available here in Croton. Can I move the army in Croton out towards Capua? Well, not really. I can borrow the town militia from Tarentum potentially. That's only 70%. Yeah, that should work. So Theages now starts off towards Capua. We'll move this group down here. And that should be enough. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll recruit some town militia here, just to keep things under control. I think I might end up leaving the skirmishers here to give a garrison at Tarentum. Right. I think that's it for the first turn. No, that's it. Oh, wait, one more thing. We are building a barracks at Messana, because I need a force that's actually capable of taking on these Astati. One unit of round shields and some mercenary hoplites is not going to cut it. We need some more infantry to block the enemy's advance. And the Gauls are paying us a visit. Okay, trade rights. Can we get some map information from you? Excellent, so now I know where all your towns are. And I know exactly where to go to kill you all. And since I'm fighting the Spanish right now... Excellent, you just tipped your hands. You are planning to attack us. That is what that means. Because why else would an alliance not be a good idea? Now, one thing I just observed there is that the Roman senatorial army has moved forward here. Right, let's pick up our expeditionary force on Carolus. I probably pronounced that horribly. And let's close in. How much of an army do we actually have here? Because that was very hastily gathered. This should be more than enough to threaten Julii lands.
Aye, my lord. No more moves, sire.
Okay. So the Roman senatorial army isn't in Latium right now. For some reason, they're taking a holiday up in Etruria, probably to protect the remaining Julii, or they've just wandered off there by chance. The Roman army sometimes behaves rather weirdly. Now that means that most of their infantry are here. If we can break this force, we'll have killed most of the Romans blocking the way to Rome. And in the meantime, they've only got a small force of... They've got a very small force here. Right, we're going to take a risk. I'm going to take my small army in Capua, and we're going to march out to meet them. I'm going to leave the elephants behind because I want them to actually return to Carthage at some point for retraining. So we're going to attack here this turn. Before I do that, let's have a look at the economic situation. So Corduba is expanding. That's good because we need this town to become large enough to defend its interests. The Greek cities have outpaced us as the most advanced faction right now. Okay, there's a long list of buildings here. And the thing is, buildings get more and more expensive as you go up the tech tree, as you'd expect. So we really want to focus on making money right now. That is an insane population growth rate. Shipwright, that is the logical option. That is going to give us a massive income boost in Carthage. What about Lilybem? Well, I think for the sake of getting higher taxes and reducing, there's no corruption to reduce here. Let's go for the farming then. No, because I can see public orders getting into problems. We'll build a shrine to Baal. Doesn't immediately get me money, but it does mean I won't have to drop my taxes as soon. Carolus has nothing really to recommend it at the moment, so I'm going to slide that down the priority tree. Corduba, of course, is building its governing villa, which is going up to the next level of town. Right, mines are tempting, but they're also very expensive, even though they're quick to establish. Trade is actually often the better way to go. We'll build ports in Croton and get a lot of money coming in. I need that more than I need the recruitment, to be honest. And Tarentum, the next step after ports is usually roads, and that's correct. So we're really, as the Carthaginians, we're a trading civilization. We're going to emphasize making lots of money early on. Now, we've had someone come of age, and I noticed this. I had another general here. Alright, let's see. He's got anger, mildly extravagant. That's nice. He's not going to be a good manager. A little bit influential. He's got... Where's that coming from? Ah, yes, the favour of the gods, and he believes he's got no enemies. So he's very easily assassinated. He's extravagant, believes he has the favour of the gods, thinks everyone loves him, and has anger issues. So he's a bit of a colourful character. I'd even say he's a typical egotistical teenager. And now I've probably lost half my audience. And he has got a tutor, which kind of balances out the effect of mildly extravagance on his finances, but he's still not really good for much. Kind of a blank slate. If we can get him into some battles, or get him to govern a settlement for a while, he might grow into something useful. I think we should go for this battle first, if only because I think it's going to be the most exciting. We'll leave the elephants. And honestly, this battle is so important, I'd rather just get into battle with what I have available. We'll have some public order problems in Capua, but once we recruit the militia, that should be back under control. So let's go and kill some Romans. Oh. Can't really get much reconnaissance on the Romans yet. Advance. If we can wipe this army, we might have a straight shot at Rome. Their commander's an idiot. 3 units of velites and 2 units of general's bodyguards. This should not be too bad.
Before the sun sinks, my orders.
Balearic slingers will be useful for drawing them out and getting them into a fight with us. As usual, we'll keep our cavalry. Let's deploy up here towards the top of the battlefield, because we want to be bearing down on the Roman army. And that also means that my missile troops will be able to fire downhill. So we'll position our Balearic slingers here. My infantry are the weak part of my army, so I'll position them up here on the other side of my cavalry, because I want them to be protected a little bit from a sudden charge. We've got our Numidian mercenaries. I'll put them out on flanks. They can possibly distract something. And they're actually pretty decent fighters in their own right. So we have a look at the Numidians. They're alright, they're okay. They're actually about as good. They're actually best than the realm shields in melee. So these are kind of my elite cavalry, considering they've got javelin capabilities as well. That's our force set up. Let's just disable skirmish mode there. Okay, start battle. And that's perfect. The Romans have placed themselves right at the bottom of the slope. Oops, they're coming straight. Right, they're coming straight out towards us. Hold on. Okay, as long as they stop there, we're still okay. The Velites will be a good target for my skirmishers. I don't see much of a role for my infantry here, though they can possibly chase the Velites, and they might also be able to slam into the back of an occupied enemy cavalry unit if the melee happens to take place nearby. First thing I want to do is get my Balearic slingers into range, and I want to target those generals' bodyguards. I want to take a few hit points off them. Even though they're heavily armoured, we will still cause some casualties, and they're a much more valuable target than the Velites. I don't really think the Velites are going to cause as much harm at all. Unless we get embroiled with the cavalry, then they may be able to throw javelins into melee, and in that situation they will eviscerate us. I use the word eviscerate too much. I don't know what that says about me as a person. Now, some people overuse the words, I don't know, spreadsheet. I overuse the word eviscerate. I'm all bark and no bite. Okay, we just need to edge forward until we're at our maximum range. If I go much closer than that, then, well, they could decide to charge at any moment, but I'm trying to get some fire in against the Roman general. They are perfect. Can you guys stop, please? We're trying not to attract their attention. So again, no initial casualties, but hopefully we took some hit points off them. There we go. And if we're lucky, we might even hit the Roman general's unit behind them. We are starting to hurt the Velites as well. In fact, we've actually killed more Velites than we've killed Roman cavalry. Just very rapidly diminishing the strength of that Roman general's bodyguard unit. Now, as they weaken, we may see them in retreat back to the capital itself. That's them losing casualties there. Right, here's the thing. I don't really want them to pull off a successful retreat, so I've decided that we are going to go in here. I'm going to get my infantry units to try and break this line of Velites. And the cavalry here. My main cavalry are going to go straight for the enemy banner, so we're going to seek to break the Roman general there. So you guys get in there, keep throwing stones. Can you run, please? Right, okay, everyone into action. Thought I issued a run command. Okay. Fantastic. We won that battle before I could fully process it, the scale of the victory. You guys get into skirmish mode now. No need to. Right, we've already killed that general, so don't go after him.
The enemy flee.
Chase him down. Do not let that general escape. That's the main target. I don't care about the velites as much. Oh, we got both of them. Never mind. Well, never mind the general's bodyguards. Go after the velites. Cut them all down. I think they're currently sitting on top of the remains of the velites over here. Yeah, this went very well indeed. It was never going to be a hard battle, but there was always the chance they'd manage to escape the battlefield, and that would have made taking Rome itself much more difficult. If we can get a complete wipe of this army, then I've got a much better chance of taking Rome. Now, with my relatively small infantry force, that does not mean taking the walls of Rome itself is going to be an easy task. It just means that we've cleared some of the hurdles away. That unit of velites is going to just melt away anyway. We've killed enough to, I think, break this Roman army. So if you want to break an army, you have to kill 85% of the Romans on the of the enemy soldiers on the field, and you have to have killed all of the generals. And I mean all of the named generals. I think you might have to kill the captain as well. If it's a... No, I don't think you have to kill the captain if it's a leaderless army. You just need the 85%.
Victory is yours.
I always feel sorry for the velites, because they're usually they'd usually be at an age where they'd be considered underage for military service. They really shouldn't have been led into this, but Piccoli, as we know, was a bit of an idiot. We are at the gates of Rome already. I thought we'd have to take a break, but seeing as the Roman Senate is holidaying up in here, we can actually place their capital under siege. We are very, very close, actually, to total victory here. Right, what is waiting for us behind this wall? Probably lots of family members and maybe a few units of infantry. I only have 4 infantry units of my own. Right, let's build some ladders because I'm more interested in getting... I'm more interested in getting over the walls than I am fighting on the walls, so I don't really care about the siege towers. We only have 4... Well, we only have 4 units of infantry, but I might bring in more, so let's build as many ladders as we can. And we never know when we might need them. And Theages might be able to reinforce as well. We could certainly use an extra general's bodyguard present. In fact, we could use someone to maintain public order in Capua for this turn. Right, that's everything that we can do in Italy. Let's move over to Baetica. Sorry, Lusitania, because that's where the fight's going to occur. That Spanish army does need to be considered, but it's not doing anything to us just now. Take mercenaries when you can get them, if only to deny them to your enemies. And let's take a look at Carioni's force. The skirmishers could be dangerous if they manage to get their javelins into us, but we should be able to shoot them down with the slingers before that happens. Round shield cavalry is not too dangerous. The barbarian mercenaries will make short work of them if the slingers don't. But then we've got this 84-man general's bodyguard. Now this will crush any of my units on their own. So what I hope to do is get them caught in the barbarian mercenaries, hopefully pelt them a little with the Balearic slingers, nail them with the javelins held by the Spanish mercenaries, and after all of that I can then send in my general's bodyguard and the round shields if I'm really desperate. Right, let's go.
Before the sun sinks in the west.
Before the walls? So I usually like my rams to take down the wall positions just to either side of the wooden gates, and that means I can move past this narrow entranceway and hopefully flank the enemy. So the gate also means that breaches on the wall are a little bit wider, so they're easier to throw nasty stuff through. So my Balearic slingers can potentially make use of that if required. Now, because they're slingers, Balearic slingers are not particularly good at throwing stuff over walls, so we need to keep them far enough away from the walls that they'll have an angle. But if we move them forward just now, well, they should be able to drive off those skirmishers. A little bit farther, please. Okay, that's far enough, in fact, honestly. I've messed this up. Pull back. Let's do a little dance. And this should be the perfect angle, where you need to drive the defenders away from their defensive positions so they can't pelt us with javelins or hit us as we come through the gate. So I'm just going to set them to fire at will. They can hit whatever is in our way. Okay, as soon as they start to move, we send in the rams. Now, our slingers should cover us from anything that tries to attack, come back and hit us with missiles. I can also send up the Spanish mercenaries because they can, in a pinch, use their javelins as well to support the attack. I'll send one group there and the other group here. I need one set of javelins in reserve because I intend to use them to bring down the general's bodyguard. Just keep the cavalry back for now so they're not obstructing our slingers, because they are quite a big target. They're just going to continue to hover around. I might bring forward my Balearic slingers. If they're in the courtyard like this and not close to the wall, we should be able to hit them. Wait, halt. And of course now they come back.
Your soldiers and the battling ram are at the walls. Now comes the test of their courage.
Okay, we cause some casualties, that's enough to make them scatter. Just as long as one of them dies, that causes the AI to pull them back and out of range. Now, while they're hovering around like that, let's push the skirmish. Let's push the Balearic slingers up. See if we can hit them while they're in the courtyard. No, they pulled way out of range, but let's see how they respond once there's breaches in the walls. Because I'd like to keep hitting them if at all possible. Move the cavalry up. Yep, here they come. So they are about to get drilled with a stone shot. Ouch. Bit of friendly fire. Not too bad. I think I'll nail them with my javelins as well. Well, we've got to hit them with a couple of javelins. Drive away the skirmishers before we actually enter the settlement. Okay, never mind. They managed to clear us. Right, since the skirmishers are the ones leading the advance, why don't we move our cavalry in first? And then move my... Okay then, I expected you to go the other way, but pathfinding being what it is in Total War, that is an absolute travesty. Just try and form into something resembling a battle line somewhere in this part of the settlement, please. There we go. Okay, let's start to get into some kind of order. I think they might counter charges before that can happen. No, they're pulling back. That's the main threat. So let's have our barbarian mercenaries set up here, and one of the Spanish mercenaries set up behind them. The Iberians, as far as I'm concerned, should stay well out of this. And we'll have the Balearic Slingers positioned... Let's position them here, actually, and move my own round shields back a little bit. And we can do the same thing on the other flank. It does mean that things are going to get a little bit crowded. But we need to set up first of all so that we've actually got a decent formation here, because we'll need to advance and make sure that our troops don't get caught out. Okay, never mind. I accidentally gave orders to the same Balearic Slingers. Let's see if my computer can handle triples. It cannot handle triple game speed in the city. Right, those skirmishers are looking rather threatening. Why not send the round shields out to pay them a visit? Might engage their general as well. Move it. Great, a bunch of my barbarians are going to die for no reason. Move! That should end it. I should have responded faster to that. I was too busy rambling about my whether I could handle fast speed or not, triple speed or not. So we've cleared that up. Let's see. So we want to fight them down on the hill. Let's try and get our barbarian mercenaries up here first of all. Send the round shields over to here. Other round shields to here. I need the Spanish mercenaries to start moving forward. Okay. Just have them back in a kind of reserve position. Have my Balearic Slingers on the right take up position. Just have the Balearic Slingers form up together out at the other side of this hedgerow. They can throw stones over the enemy over this kind of garden, I suppose? Grove. Over this grove into the enemies in the centre. Now bringing out skirmishers to challenge us. Hold on, we need to clear that away. Skirmishers are actually proving to be more of an obstruction than I thought they would. Ideally, I'd like to use the Balearic Slingers to deal with that. Right, get our troops to either side because they're going to get hit by sling stones otherwise. I wanted to kill them, not just drive them back. Right, never mind. Cavalry at least are continuing to move. No, they are coming down. And so is their general's bodyguard. Right, that is not good. Cavalry to the fore, please, and bring in the Spanish mercenaries. I moved the wrong unit. Why are you all wearing green? Okay, change of plan. Can everyone hit those guys, please? Oh, good. Okay, so it looks like we've hit them hard enough that they're just going to end up getting absolutely murdered. Stop them from reloading and throwing stuff at us, please. You're going to have to be more aggressive to them than that. There he goes. Okay, that should break their resolve. Okay, good. We'll just supervise this because we don't want them actually going into the centre, where the remains of the round shield cavalry are. Okay, back. You've done. Too late. I got too greedy. And pathfinding is killing us. You always give orders in city 5 seconds before you think you actually have to, because the pathfinding will make sure that your orders take at least another 5 seconds to be effectively followed.
Units, march! Units, move up! Cavalry! General! Cavalry! Units, run! Barrier slingers!
So the barrier slingers. This battle is over now. We've done the hard part. Go ahead and hit them again. Get them out of our hair. Yeah, I can be a bad skirmish commander sometimes. My skirmish by that I mean I don't mean I don't get results. I mean I tend to get all of my skirmishers killed getting those results. But at least I can say I am not as bad a skirmish commander as the AI is. Nothing dies faster than skirmishers left to the AI's tender care. We should be able to stop this with the missiles, but just in case we can't. There we go, and this battle is over. The rest have surrendered.
Sweet indeed, and all the sweeter for being so decisive.
Luckily, we managed to catch Cariunus in basically a large encirclement. We hit him with javelins, we brought down his HP quickly. That could have gone very differently if we hadn't managed to hit him with everything at once. So although this looks like an easy battle, it was an easy battle to win, but we could have taken far more casualties. Scalibus is ours. Well, I don't like that resistance. We'll enslave the populace to try and bring down public order. I mean, bring down unrest. Increase public order. That's what I was looking for. Right, let's see where all this unrest is coming from. Right, we've got a culture penalty of 50, and we've also got unrest of 45. And we're miles away from the capital. Because Carthage has such a spread out empire, you start to see public order penalties, which are usually reserved for the end game. So what are we going to do about this? Well, one thing you're going to see me do something very strange here. In a settlement which has a public order problem, I'm going to destroy a building that provides public order. And I'm going to do that, one, so I can get the Law Shrine, but also because every building you build that is of your culture lowers the public order penalty. Which means we'll build this, and then we'll build roads, and that should leave us in a much better shape here. Do we actually have any squalor to worry about? No, we don't. So it's literally just a case of bringing down that culture penalty. Okay, right, beyond that, we got some slave-related retinue for Theophanes. We really have to pray that Theophanes survives the turn effect. There is going to be a riot, and there's not going to be a revolt. There could be a revolt if we're very unlucky. Usually you get a riot, and then you get a revolt. Except I don't think that's how it actually works. Let's see, how much is Theophanes personally providing for the public order of the settlement? He'll be getting 10% from his influence. Does he have any traits that reduces public order? I could remove Theophanes. That means we will at least won't lose him if the settlement riots. We'll keep him in. I'd rather minimize the size of the riot or avoid any revolt. Someone let me know in the comments whether or not you can get a revolt in the first turn of unrest. Other than that, we've got fully retrained cavalry in Tarentum, and I've got plenty of militia in Croton to provide a garrison. Let's get them up close to Capua, and we'll just continue to reinforce. I haven't actually done anything with my spy here. I'm a little bit suspicious, to be honest, because there doesn't actually seem to be much in Syracuse. So let's just take a wander through this wood. Hello. Okay, we need to take a visit to Syracuse as soon as I'm done with Rome. So I may have to try and build up an army here in Carthage and Messana, because this needs to be addressed. It's frankly a miracle that this army hasn't attacked me already. On that worrying note, we will end the turn. Okay, the Julii are blocking our ports, not a big deal. Scalabus did indeed have a riot, but wasn't too bad in the end. Okay. Recruiting a unit of skirmishers was all we needed to quell unrest. That gambit worked perfectly, and once I build my roads, that should deal with the unrest pretty much conclusively. We will still have a large culture penalty until we get rid of the warlord's hold, which requires me to upgrade the settlement. But for now, that is obviously done as a bit of a service. We've had riotings in Palma of all places. Right, I lost track of that. I think you can occasionally get riots even with a blue face. The solution to that would be to build a shrine to Baal. Luckily, we didn't have any damage to the settlement there. Okay, but aside from these twin disasters, let's see, we've got city expands. I usually like to get the economic stuff done first. We'll invest in the councillors' chambers once I have got the ship right here. I don't like spending money before it is. I'm just leaving things in the queue because I can use that money this turn. So Lilybam, we should probably go after stables, to be honest, if we're going to confront Cleon of Sparta. Palma's got its port. We know we're going for the shrine there. We'll train one unit of biremes and see if we can get our mercenaries to another port. It's a shame we lost some of them to a pointless riot, because these are good troops, as you've already seen. Messana's a weird one because I don't think we actually have. It doesn't say that we're going to get any trade. I'm going to build the port anyway. I'm going to see if anything comes of this. Of course, what we really need to do is start recruiting Iberian infantry so we can finally get rid of these rebels. And Scalabus is building a road. Right, that is the economic stuff out of the way. Let's look at the military situation. So we know we're recruiting a Messana. I will also recruit some long shield cavalry. That would, what we really, because there are so many phalangites here, what I really need is missile troops. But in the absence of, what I need is, let's see, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units of infantry. I need at least 8 units of infantry to match their infantry, and I need enough cavalry to turn their flanks. So in the absence of any means to shoot those phalanxes down from long range, I need a large. I'll need to go for an outnumbering and outflanking approach, and it needs to be both. I need to both outnumber and outflank the enemy. But why am I continuing to talk about? We've got the main event. Let's take the city of Rome itself. Let's take a look at what's in here. 3 units of General's Guard. They've got an excellent commander. That can easily best my cavalry here, and it could end up with my faction leader getting killed. On top of that, they've got Principes and Astati, and they may try and stop us from taking the walls. We can't win this yet. What we need to do is bring in reinforcements. So let's bring. I'm going to bring in everyone. I'm going to bring in Theages. Does he have any mercenaries he can bring with him? Nope. Okay. How about the unrest in capital? We can settle that just by recruiting some town militia. Or should I say some more town militia? And the cavalry will help, I suppose. Right, with that force, it's still going to be a tough fight, but I think we're going to go for it anyway. I frequently regret going for things anyway when I think it's going to be difficult. Aliac test. So it occurs to me that I could have actually just brought the army that was going to use to invade northern Italy and used that to reinforce my armies as well. So we're doing this with less infantry than we could. What to do is have these Iberian infantry threaten this section of wall here. Just pull the ladders back so we can deploy tidily. We'll have these Iberian infantry threaten this section of wall there. Let's take the rest of our units and start deploying towards the different gateways. So they don't have enough infantry to cover all of the gateways, so I should be able to get through somewhere. Send the slingers to one of the gates, because if they can get up and around behind the enemy, that will help. Same idea with the mercenary peltasts actually, because they can throw javelins at the Romans up on the walls. Of course, they have to watch out for pili coming back down on top of them. Well, the idea is we will keep our cavalry back, and when we do take a gateway, all of my cavalry can ride into the settlements and will render attempts to guard the walls absolutely useless. So I'll keep my skirmishers. They can actually stay there. They're threatening that wall there. Okay, this will be a long and bloody and potentially very bloody affair. They're not defending the walls. That is excellent. Let's get the front gates open. There's not really a section of wall I can approach that won't lead to me taking massive amounts of arrow fire. So let's just get on with it. Get our cavalry into the settlement. And they're going to start taking arrow fire from their own towers. Okay, the cavalry are into the settlement. That's going to help. Pull the round shields back, because we really don't want them to fight the enemy first. What I want to do is fight with my general's bodyguard. Right, in fact, this is not a good place to fight them. Pull our troops back. That'll slow them down at least. We want to drain them with arrow fire. Just try, because I'm going to end up losing a general if I keep this up. We might lose control of this gateway. There's a traffic jam at the gate. Hopefully the Stati don't seem to quite know what to do about this either. Oh no, you don't. You're not going to get away down that street. This is our best chance to wipe this force out. Now look at that big column of Roman generals. Okay, never mind, we're not going to go sprinting down that corridor. Let's see, what would be the best way to approach this? They'll have their principes back in the center. That's what's holding their army together. Chances are pretty good you saw a big skip forward in the video there, and that was because it was mostly just me taking over the walls. We had a little bit of a fight with some Stati, but it was pretty uneventful. Now we are starting to advance into the city itself, and this is where the real fight with the Roman cavalry is going to occur. Let's get our troops into the center of the town. I've got a little flanking force here, so let's start to move them into position as well. Okay. Here. We've got this unit over here that's going to set up behind my generals. But this is mainly going to be... I intend to break the momentum with my infantry and then finish them off with the cavalry. Now they may come out to meet us before then. I'm going to have my Balearic slingers follow up with the rest of the army. They are the ones who are going to actually bring the Romans out to fight. But we are going to have to fight this gigantic Roman army. Roman cavalry army. So let's start to think about what we want this box to look like. Big, deep formations of Iberian infantry all working together. And they're going to have to be backed up by Numidian mercenaries throwing javelins. and also by my skirmishers and my mercenary peltasts. Now there's no guarantee that the enemy will actually let me form up into this formation, so we may have a fight in the streets. The Roman general here certainly seems to be thinking about doing something. Absolutely no firing until I tell you to. If I sound like I'm scared and taking this seriously, I am. This is a lot of bodyguards to try and kill all at once, and they've got a better general too. Right, run now, because if we cut out formation, then we're going to be toast. I rested my troops up because before I took up these positions. Now they're coming out, come on, move it! Nothing to lose now, we're in the moment of action. Pathfinding strikes again. Get out of there, please. Here he comes. Okay, we're not going to get any missile support. The cavalry have decided to start the fight ahead. Fine. Cavalry and infantry can fight in cooperation with one another. It's probably a good thing, to be honest. Those Iberian infantry need to actually start fighting. So you're going to see my light cavalry get rapidly overwhelmed. Start throwing your javelins in as well. But we are going to tire the enemy army out. Peltas, stop! I didn't mean for you to get involved in the fight. Oh, okay, wait, stop. Pathfinding again, causing us problems. Right, we're going to have to advance these our general's bodyguards in. Our infantry are going to get absolutely crushed. Send in our flanking force. It has to be fully committed. They might get struck here, but the idea is to hit this group. It's premature. We need to grind them down a little bit more than this. We've managed to kill the Roman general. Right, now hit with the flanking force. There's a very good chance they'll draw the attention of the remaining Roman general. I'm going to send this unit out as a sacrificial lamb to distract them. They've ran into this group. They've now come up. Okay, this is about to get very nasty. Who's broken? Oh no. Okay, that sucks. But we are breaking them. Right, I think we need to disengage from this for a while, because right now this is just going to lead to more and more chaos. Pull our cavalry back to the square. Do we have any cavalry that are standing around looking like targets? Yes, we do. Get them back. Okay, our infantry here, they can keep us safe. Draw the enemy into a trap. The round shields got themselves caught again. Right, aside from one of my cavalry units getting itself murdered, this is actually going pretty well. Better than expected, even. Why are you marching? You're supposed to be fighting. That sheer massive infantry should be enough to bring down the Roman general. But if they look like they're going to force their way through, I can send in the bodyguards. Bring them down. And the infantry aren't stopping them. Okay, good enough. Don't pursue. Reform, pull that unit that's been battered almost to nothing back. They're going to try again. They're not very bright, are they? Well, to be fair, they're fighting for... it's a hopeless stand now. They have lost. They've lost their general, and I think they've actually lost all of their... Yep, all 3 Roman generals are dead now, so it's just the bodyguards that are fighting. So what else are they supposed to do? They may as well die with some honour. Okay, right. We want to get out of Pila range. We're going to use our missile units to force those Hastati to leave the safety of the centre. Wait, hang on. How did you guys end up in that position to begin with? Oh, of course, because we tried to retreat them back, but the enemy charged before I could do it. Right. Let's maneuver the Balearic slingers into position and we'll bring the enemy forward for the finale. Sorry if I'm a little quiet, folks. It's rather sobering. Balearic slingers will have to stand forward a little bit because they can't fire over the heads of their own troops. We have almost broken this force. Now just send the Numidians away. They're just going to, this is not a battle they want to have any part in. This is going to be grinding close range combat. No. Skirmishers can now fire at will because they're out of range anyway. They're not going to prematurely cause the enemy to advance. Stones. Come on, you guys, form up, make sure you're ready to go. Focus on the Principes first. Oh yeah, hit their stati because they were actually in an exposed position. The Principes are guarded by the tower a little bit. Now if we could bring out both of their units, that would be best. But if I only get their stati with this first attack, then that's great as well. Might need to manage your missiles a little bit. I don't want to use all of my javelins on this stati. Pull the Balearic slingers back now. Okay, crunch them. Balearic slingers, being impetuous as ever, didn't obey their orders. Okay, don't you pursue as well. Keep the infantry back. Let's not get carried away here. Cavalry, just don't go into them. Trying to organize your forces in the city is not always the easiest thing. Let's try and clear up some of these messages so I can see if any of my generals are dead. What is going on? Can you pull out, please? I think we did actually end up exterminating the Astati, because none of them seem to be left. Finish them with everything we've got. Let's give these Principes something to go out to. We'll end it there. We'll accept their surrender.
Is yours, and no one can argue that it is not both well-deserved and worthy.
We actually took more casualties than we killed of the enemy there. I don't know how effective this flank attack was in the end. Once again, this is giving me the lesson that it's better to keep your forces concentrated than go for the flank attack sometimes. I am a flanking general. I like to flank my opponents and try and break them that way, but sometimes you just need a whole lot of force in one place. But we were going up against that number of generals' bodyguards. it's a massive difference in quality between my troops and theirs. But with that, Rome has fallen.
Glorious victory!
So Carthage has not been destroyed. We are, of course, going to go for the enslavement option, because otherwise there's no way we are going to be able to have the public order needed to control the place. With Rome, I believe we also get a massive public order bonus. No, we don't. We don't. I thought we might. What am I trying to say? Possibly get a glory effect. But I think that's caused by owning certain wonders. But with that, as you can see, that dangerous consular army has disappeared. We will ignore that for now. It's not a huge priority. Instead, I'm going to land on the coast and let's go after the Julii.
Disembark!
And we might wipe out the Romans altogether in this episode
Engage
and
the
make an
enemy!
immediate advance on Latium. I'm not sure I actually like our chances here,
Besieging settlement, sir.
because we do have 3 family members, but there's going to be plenty of Julii family members hanging around as well. Now that force alone will be make it difficult to take Arretium, so we might end up sieging them out. A lot depends on what Vibius has at his disposal. Rome, to my surprise, is actually pretty calm. I would have expected more public order problems. We'll go for the Shrine to Baal anyway, and it's nothing that can't be improved. Hanno is probably playing a big part of it. We can get access to some of our best infantry here. I'm going to go for a unit of Libyan spearmen. Can't really move on immediately. I don't suppose we can retrain our cavalry. No, not the type of retraining I need anyway. Let's see, because if I can hang on to these units, I can send them all the way back to Tarentum for retraining. Right, let's just retrain the infantry instead, because I can get my army back very quickly. And since I can't move up north to join them just yet, we can at least start up northwards. No, we can't actually move to Ret, because we're blocked by that army I decided not to destroy. Right, instead, let's see. I think I may have tried to do things a little bit too quickly, to be honest.
Yes, mighty lord.
Right, we'll wait until our infantry is retrained and then we'll load up onto transports. Unfortunately, it does look like Hasdrubal is going to be on his own for a while. On the plus side, Palma's growing. And if I don't do something about that public order, Palma's going to rebel too. Let's take a look over our empire, because it's going to cause public order problems. Everything's more or less fine. Scalabus, of course, just got all those people back that I removed from it earlier. I'm trying to reduce the squalor level, that's why I'm recruiting lots of peasants all of a sudden. At least gets us down to 70%. Next turn, and I think the final battle may be for the fate of Arretium. Here we are. So we're going to first have to fight the army of Vibius Julius. Now, looking at his army, this is not an unbeatable force. We're dealing with 1 bodyguard unit, a lot of astati, which will be dangerous to our relatively poor infantry, but we do have javelins of our own. But these Town Watch aren't particularly formidable. If we can kill their general and take out these lighter units, I think we can probably win this battle without too much difficulty. What about Flavius's troops? So he's got this dangerous general's bodyguard. And beyond that, he's got more astati and some triari. We definitely do not want to fight both of these Roman armies at once. Right, we're going to set up in a defensive line. Our infantry really aren't up to this kind of battle. It's going to be a very cavalry heavy affair. I'm going to line my cavalry up here, have more cavalry lined up behind them, and we're going to very much focus on winning the cavalry battle. I'd like to draw away. I can't really let my Numidians get too close to the Stati, they'll just get pelted with javelins. So yeah, this is going to be a day for the cavalry. What I will do is I'm going to position my infantry up on this hill. They can at least defend themselves, and they're as far away from the Julii coming in this corner as possible. Right, let's begin.
The enemy have brought up more men. Send them to the afterlife.
So as mentioned, I need to break this Julii force first, so we're going to have to take an aggressive footing. I'm already noting that lead units for Julii. Let's see if we can move quickly. Yeah, I think this is going to be a shock. This is going to be that kind of battle where we have to hit them before they can get fully into position. Okay, we've already caused a break. Excellent. Keep our cavalry going. Okay, we've broken them there. That's going to be ugly. Could be broken them here. Kill their general. Get in amongst them. Get the infantry forward. Get them into this mall. We need to break everything here and then disengage.
The enemy general shows his value. The enemy general has been killed.
That's it. How was that?
Of his soldiers' courage.
We completely scattered them. And that's the value of concentrating your forces. Because that only worked because I was able to catch them out of formation. And even then it was hairy in places. Right, we want to kill this army. We want to completely annihilate the Julii here. Have we killed their general? Yes, we have. So bring them back. They don't need to pursue those bodyguards. We've annihilated that unit. I don't care about the scattered remnants. Just start to bring our army together as soon as we've eradicated the worst of this Roman army. Now, this is a crushing victory already, even though I withdrew off the field with no further contribution. But let's go for the kill. We might be able to wipe out a substantial portion of the Julii family tree here as well. Right, we need to bring our cavalry back together and then we need to rest up. So reform over here because we can see their cavalry forming there. Because my troops are now winded, we are not going to be able to deliver that same offensive punch twice. So run to get back into position and rest up. Let's just see how much stamina we can get back before we have to get into combat again. It's looking like some, but not enough. Right, we're facing Velites, the Astati, which of course, and then there's these Triari, which are what I'm somewhat worried about. So, but their general has isolated himself from his infantry, and that is always a very foolish thing to do. So if we can take our cavalry over to here, please, and I think I can smash through their Velites with my Numidians. Right, I want a massive, crushing attack upon that Roman general. Killed him, and we've sent his bodyguard packing. Don't get engaged by those troops. Okay, I can see that the Hastati are going after my infantry. There's not a lot I can do about that right now. They're going to have to hold. Crash into the Velites next. Avoid the... So yeah, our Libyans are going to take some casualties, but it doesn't... Pull the Libyans back. Send in the infantry. Okay, they've broken anyway. Never mind. You're going to have to break through those shaken... Okay, good. Our infantry just broke the morale of the shaken Hastati. They're trying to go over to help, but cavalry are going to get them. And soon it's going to be the Triari on their own. Skirmish away. Don't let them escape. We do not want anyone holding the gates closed against us. And this is the end of the Julii as well. Even though I don't wipe Rome out this episode, they are finished. Because this was everything they had. This was their entire army. I don't like sending the Numidians to do this job, but since they're engaging my town militia anyway, there we go, broke them. It was only going to be a case of a few more casualties more than we would have taken had I been able to use my general's bodyguard. Those Velites really should just be running for home right now. The last hope of Rome, and they're standing around in an open field, marching towards certain death. And certain death is coming for them. In the form of Africa's best cavalry.
Chase them from the field and give them no rest or pity.
The Numidians just showing no mercy to those Roman boys.
Awaiting your command. Charge! The enemy lie dead before you. Save for the few with the wit to run away. This is a crashing victory.
Yes, it is. It is a crushing victory indeed. Wow! I was really nervous going into this one, but we completely obliterated them. So we managed to catch them out of formation and we swept them away. The Romans are trying to go for Tarentum, but at this rate I'm going to reach their capital before they can threaten it. We'll occupy Latium. Okay, folks, the game crashed, but luckily I was able to win the battle again. And of course, at that exact moment, my general dies, having pretty much done his job. Goodbye, Hanno. You'll be forever known as the conqueror of, well, most of Rome. But most importantly, of Rome itself. Unfortunately, what happened this turn is that for some reason the Roman navy decided to attack us, and we actually got completely trounced. So I do not have my navy in outside Rome. They're going to have to retreat to Capua for refitting. That's okay, we can rebuild Capua, and then I'm going to go and slaughter the Romans who did that to us. Of course, that means I can't recruit in Capua this time. Well, we could end the episode right here, but let's go after Arretium. So we know our faction leader's dead. Thankfully, Hasdrubal, his brother, is also a great general. So with luck, we should be able to leave Arretium under garrison.
Onward.
Let's see, okay, things are actually pretty bad here. It was really only Hasdrubal's presence who was keeping public order acceptable. I don't really have a lot of troops I can easily leave behind. Let's leave behind the Libyan mercenaries. See how that helps public order. It's improving rapidly. And I guess I can spare the Iberian infantry. This is basically going to mean that I'm going to have to try and take a Roman with cavalry. The Shrine to Baal should increase public order to acceptable levels, especially once I recruit a unit of town militia. Right, I'm pumped for this now. Let's go and finish the Romans off. I'm not even going to check my economic information. We're going straight for the jugular. I have never actually managed to finish the Romans off as a non-Roman faction before. Let's see, we're facing 2 units of bodyguards and some Hastati and some Velites. Nothing we haven't seen before, plus some Hastati. Let's just get it done. Velites, rather. Let's just get it done. I'm going to do something funny here. I'm actually going to deploy back a little bit, and I'm going to let the enemy reinforcements come out onto the field. Because as far as I'm concerned, this war is already won. The only thing that can go wrong is if I let the Romans get back into their settlement. So we'll draw up in our by now familiar formation. I'll put the infantry right at the back. And we are going to wait here patiently. And we are going to let the Romans come out and into the centre of the field.
As if numbers mattered.
Because I do not want them getting the chance to withdraw. I was looking at the mini-map, they may be hugging the edge of the map anyway. Right, I don't think they're going to choose to withdraw because we drive off the Velites. Because they've got quite a large... And that's quite the balance of power sitting against us. Let's charge up the hill and overrun those lightly armoured skirmishers. Going to break from the group here just so that we can actually move forward at full pace. I don't know who I'm targeting anymore. It's funny how no matter what game I play, I can't get away from clicking in the wrong spot. The general's already routing. Make sure that they don't escape. I'm going to unleash my cavalry after them. Don't escort them, kill them. Pull our general back so he can rest. Let the light cavalry handle this. The enemy general's gone dead. Of course, that won't affect the other army that's coming after us.
He sacrificed himself rather than leading his men to a dignified defeat.
And let's set up on the hill for another fight. Everyone else can walk. You guys are going to have to run. If you're not already on top of the hill, get on top of the hill. Right, there's the first Roman general coming out to challenge us. Again, we want to wait until as many of their forces are in the middle of the field as possible. They're definitely coming forward. Right, enough wandering around, it's time for action. We're going to start by crushing the Romans over here. I'm going to keep the Numidians back and in reserve, because they can run forward and chase down routers. Got that wrong. Okay, never mind. Gonna have to use Numidians here. Come on, get him! Let him run away. I think we managed to surround him here and we're destroying him. Right, branch off, start to destroy the rest of the Roman army. He's gonna make it back, but hopefully that will be all that defends Ariminum after this. Okay, they actually managed to see our cavalry off there. Never mind, we can try and crack them again. That second attack broke them, especially with the added impetus of the javelins. I knew he'd get away at that point. He's running back to Rome. He did rally and come back, but seeing that there was basically nothing he could do to help, he wisely decided just to book it back to Ariminum and bar the gates. Come on, we need to prevent as many of these infantry from getting back as possible. If we can end it here, we can minimize the fight that's going to happen for the city itself. If I might auto-resolve Ariminum if it's just one unit of General's Bodyguard protecting the place. As we've had enough tedious sieges.
General! Awaiting your command! Units! Advance! Victory lies in your grasp, and there is nothing the enemy can do but run!
There's a name missing from that. We'll get him next turn. We'll pick it up next turn.
Victory is ours, mighty one! Sire, attack! Besieging settlement, sir. Settlement under siege, sir.
Amulius Julius is now the faction heir. I wonder where the faction leader is. That is actually an open question. He might be somewhere out there. Hasdrubal's now starting to develop his reputation a little bit. Found an agent in Corduba. That's to be expected. Right.
Awaiting your command.
Let's see. Recruit some militia here, actually. I could do with some eyes and ears to have a look at what's coming from elsewhere in Spain. And now that we've managed to take Scalabus, let's see. We still need to look after public order. Go after the Temple of Baal. And with public order like this, I really can't do anything too drastic. Recruit another unit of skirmishers, at least they're useful. And let's just take a scan around. Corduba, for some reason, isn't building anything. I must have forgotten to visit it. Right, we're going to need a stables. I need to get some ability to recruit some combat-capable soldiers, and the round shields are the best we have. Palma has its ship. Train another unit of biremes before I risk moving my fleet out, because we could meet pirates. Or at this point, Romans that have just managed to escape the various other disasters. We'll build a trader in Carolus, and I'll eventually go after the barracks there. Lilibem. And I believe I've forgotten completely about Thapsus. Thapsus has had no development whatsoever. Let's at least give it a shrine, so it's had some attention to it. Hopefully I'll be able to pick it up from the construction tab next turn. I don't seem to have got a construction tab this turn. Maybe it's because the game crashed. We will go after mines in Croton. I'm really trying to maintain a good economy right now. And let's see. We definitely want to open Rome up to the sea. Beyond that, I don't think there's anything else I can do. I can build a trader in Capo, I suppose. That's a little bit of extra money. And let's work on our tax rate. Let's just, before we finish the episode today, let's get some money coming in. And we'll train another unit of Iberian infantry here. Because remember, that was something we were concerned about. Oops. It's amazing the difference one increment in the tax rate can make. Carolus really needs the room to grow. Okay, that'll do. And with that, it's the end of the...
Ships ready.
What am I waiting for? Right, without further ado, just in case this turns out to be an unjustifiable disaster.
Attack!
With only 22 casualties, we have finished off the last of the Romans.
Settlement captured.
And let's just occupy. We can bring it under control. Right, folks, I've been Napoleon Complex, and thank you for following me through this. We haven't quite finished them off. Okay, there's a group of them hiding in Liguria, but come on. We have taken all of the initial Roman starting positions. The Julii are now hiding up in a tiny little corner of Liguria, and next turn we'll get to finish them off finally. I'm not sure where I'm going to turn next after this. We will, of course, have to deal with the threat from Syracuse, because this is a major force. If it decides to move out, they'll quickly overrun Messana and Lilybæum if I let them. So I'm going to have to build up my forces around this sector of the front here. At some point, the Numidians are going to come for me, so I'm also going to have to start to build up my forces in Carthage. Up until now, everything has been focused on taking out the Romans. But I am going to have to look to my frontiers, because this isn't going to remain a safe point forever. And over in the west, of course, the Carthaginians are the Spanish rather are probably going to send an army after me at some point, and so are the Gauls. But that is probably the hardest part of the campaign over. We have managed to take Rome, and until we start to face the Egyptians in the east, I don't think anyone else is going to give us quite the same scale of problems. Pontus can be annoying as well. Anyway, I've been Napoleon Complex. Thank you for following this. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the content. And I will see you in the next one. Farewell.